Welcome back to the deep dive. I was thinking about how we usually view coastal infrastructure. It feels so static, doesn't it?
That is the traditional model,
You
yeah.
build a marina, pour some concrete, park a few thousand boats, maybe open a fish and chips place.
And then you just let it sit there for 40 years gathering barnacles.
Exactly. But looking at the stack of research we have for Channel Islands Harbor right now,
Yeah.
especially as we kick off 2026, that static image is completely wrong.
Oh, completely.
It feels less like a parking lot for boats and more like a massive real-time laboratory.
It really does. It's a convergence of some very heavy civil engineering, some, incredibly high concept ecological experiments, and a complete reimagining of the local economy.
It's messy.
It's messy, it's loud, and it is fascinating.
And it's happening on a timeline that is surprisingly condensed. I mean, we aren't talking about someday plans.
Not at all. We are talking about massive shifts happening literally this week.
That's what stands out in the data. This isn't some 10-year vision statement.
No, this is boots-on-the-ground transformation happening right now, in January and February.
So our mission today is to decode this transformation. We're going to dig into the engineering behind the big shift in sand management, which is way more interesting than it sounds.
It really is.
We'll unpack a concept called green lighthouses, which might just change how we look at oil rigs forever, and we'll map out the cultural calendar.
Because if you think the harbor goes into hibernation after New Year's, the schedule says otherwise.
Okay, let's start with the ground beneath our feet, or rather, the ground that is currently being moved by massive machinery, the dredging.
Right.
Now, dredging is one of those words that sounds incredibly boring.
It really does. It sounds like a chore you put off.
It's the maritime equivalent of cleaning the gutters.
But on a planetary scale, yes.
Right. But the scale of what the H.R. Morris team just wrapped up for the 2025-2026 cycle is, it's just mind-boggling. The report says 2 million cubic yards of sand. I tried to visualize that, and I just got a headache. Can you help us wrap our heads around 2 million cubic yards?
Okay, think of it this way. If you took that sand and loaded it into standard dump trucks and then parked those trucks bumper to bumper,
Okay.
that line wouldn't just stretch down the block. It would stretch for hundreds of miles.
Wow.
We are talking about a geological amount of earth being moved by human hands.
That is wild. And they aren't just digging a hole to make sure the sailboats don't scrape the bottom.
Yeah.
This is what I found interesting. This is described as a sediment management system.
It is, and that sounds technical, but the concept is really simple. In a natural coastline, sand flows down the coast like a river.
Usually from north to south, right? A literal drift.
That's it. But when you build a harbor entrance, you essentially build a dam that traps that sand.
So the harbor entrance gets clogged like a drain,
Exactly, like a drain.
and the beach below it creates a deficit.
That's the perfect way to put it. The beach below, in this case, Hueneme Beach, starves.
That's Wainimi Beach, for those listening who aren't locals.
Right, and without this sand, Hueneme Beach effectively disappears, and you get severe erosion threatening the streets, the homes there.
So this project is essentially a bypass surgery.
It is. They suck the sand out of the trap and pump it down to the starving beach. It's critical infrastructure.
Not just for recreation, but for survival.
For the coastline, yes. And the big update for this week, January 2026, is that the surgery is complete. The H.R. Morris team is pulling the heavy machinery out.
Which have immediate consequences for anyone trying to get on the water right now.
Huge consequences. For the last few months, dodging that dredging equipment and the pipes has been a major headache for boaters.
It restricts the channel.
A lot. Now the travel lanes are wide open. But for the recreational crowd, the biggest news is the break wall.
The break wall is back in play.
It is. Access to the front side was blocked during operations for safety. Now it's clear. And this is vital because we are in the absolute final stretch of lobster season.
Talk about timing. You couldn't script a better dramatic finish for the lobster hunters.
You really couldn't. You have this brief window where the water is deep, the structure is finally accessible, and the lobsters are still in season.
I bet there's going to be a rush of fishermen out there.
Oh, immediately. It's going to be a frenzy.
But here's the thing about moving 2 million cubic yards of sand. It's not a one-and-done fix, is it?
Not even close.
It feels like you fix it, and then the ocean just laughs at you.
That is the sobering part of coastal management. The report explicitly states the crew is scheduled to return in late 2027.
Wow.
It's a Sisyphean task. You roll the rock up the hill or pump the sand down the beach, and nature immediately starts pushing it back.
It really highlights that a harbor isn't a static object, it's a process. You have to constantly fight entropy.
Precisely. And that fight for renewal extends to the buildings on land, too. I mean, if you drive through the harbor in 2026, it looks like a construction zone.
It looks like a demolition derby in some spots. Let's talk about the skyline, because it is changing dramatically.
It really is.
The biggest emotional hit for a lot of longtime locals has to be Fisherman's Wharf.
This is a major turning point. The Carl's team is starting demolition on the existing buildings there very, very soon.
And Fisherman's Wharf, I mean, for decades that was the postcard image of the harbor. The New England-style architecture, the painted wood.
The whole vibe.
Yeah. Why tear it down? Why not just paint it?
It's a shift in economic utility. The old wharf was built for a different era of tourism and, well, commercial fishing support. It had charm, but it was failing structurally and economically.
So the new vision, Carl's Village.
Targeting a 2028 opening, and it's designed as a lifestyle hub.
Lifestyle hub is one of those developer buzzwords that usually makes me nervous.
I get it. It usually means expensive coffee and a place to buy scented candles.
Right.
It often does. But in urban planning terms, it means mixed use. Retail, dining, and open gathering spaces designed for families to linger, not just transact.
So shifting the harbor's purpose a bit.
Exactly. From a place you go to do something specific, like buy bait, to a place you go to be.
So we're trading nostalgia for utility.
We're trading aging infrastructure for economic viability. The reality is, those old buildings were becoming maintenance nightmares.
And speaking of demolition, the old Harbor Administration building is already history.
Gone as of late 2025.
That happened fast.
Just a patch of dirt now.
So where is the administration administrating from? Are they working out of a van down by the river?
They're in a transition phase, but the new building is slated for the lot between the fuel dock and the Coast Guard station.
And when does that start?
Construction starts later this year, again, aiming for 2028.
2028 seems to be the magic number here. We also have the Hyatt House Hotel project on the Peninsula property moving through permits.
Which is huge. A dedicated hotel of that caliber changes the tourism dynamic.
It encourages overnight stays, not just day trips.
And it changes the spend per visitor drastically.
But that leaves us with a bit of a gap year situation, doesn't it? We're in 2026. The cool new stuff arrives in 2028. What happens in the middle?
That's the awkward teenage phase of urban redevelopment. You have the dust, the fences, and the noise, but you don't have the shiny payoff yet. It requires patience from the community. It requires faith that the blue economy is actually growing.
Blue economy, meaning all the economic activity from the ocean.
Correct. And frankly, the investment building a Hyatt, rebuilding the wharf signals that investors believe the blue economy here is bullish.
That's a fair point. Money talks, and right now the money says the harbor has a future.
You don't pour concrete if you think the harbor is dying.
Okay, while the land is being dug up,
Yeah.
there is something happening in the water that I found. Well, infinitely more interesting than concrete pouring. It's quieter, but scientifically, it's pretty radical.
You're looking at the ecological initiatives.
Specifically, the White Sea Bass Enhancement Program. Now, explain this to me like I'm 5. Is this just throwing fish into the water and wishing them luck?
Not quite. It's a grow-out program. It's really sophisticated. The Hub's SeaWorld Research Institute spawns the fish in a hatchery.
Okay.
But you can't just dump baby fish larvae really into the ocean.
Everything will eat them.
Everything. They're like popcorn for predators, so they need a nursery, a safe space.
And that's where the harbor comes in.
Exactly. They bring these juvenile sea bass to net pens in the harbor. The volunteers feed them, monitor the water quality, and care for them until they reach a size where they have a fighting chance.
It's like a halfway house for fish.
A very effective one. It's responsible for bringing the white sea bass population back from the brink in California, and the program is returning to Channel Islands Harbor in 2026.
But here's the kicker. It doesn't run on tax dollars alone.
No, it runs on sweat equity. It's
Yeah.
completely volunteer dependent.
And the call to action right now is urgent.
Very urgent. They need people this Saturday, January 24th at 9:00 a.m.
And the notes here are very specific. This isn't stand around and point at the water volunteering.
No. The note says boots and gloves strongly suggested.
Wow.
They are replacing the dock structure that holds the pens. This is heavy lifting, wet work, barnacles, and salt water.
Which, honestly, sounds like a better workout than the gym. And they might need help Sunday as well?
Likely, yes. It's a 2-day push to get the infrastructure ready for the fish.
I just love the juxtaposition there. On one side, you have massive corporate dredging with giant machines.
And on the other, a bunch of locals in rubber boots building a fish nursery by hand.
It's the whole ecosystem of the harbor.
It takes both the macro engineering and the micro stewardship. You can't have a healthy harbor with just one.
Now, if you prefer your marine science to be a little less physically exhausting, let's pivot to the Maritime Museum.
Good idea.
Because there is a talk coming up that it blew my mind.
The green lighthouses concept.
Yes. Friday, January 30th, Ryan Davis is the speaker. The title is America's Green Core. When I first read green lighthouses, I thought they were just putting solar panels on old lighthouses.
That's what I thought too.
But that's not it at all.
It's so much more ambitious. Davis is looking at a problem we have all along the California coast. Retired offshore oil platforms.
The big rusty eyesores on the horizon.
The ones we usually argue about how to get rid of. The debate is always rigs to reefs. Leave the legs as artificial reefs versus total removal, which is incredibly expensive.
Right.
Davis is proposing a third way. Repurpose the topside infrastructure.
Turn the oil rig into a lighthouse.
Not for navigation, but a green lighthouse for data. These platforms are stable, they are tall, and they are located in critical offshore zones.
So what kind of data?
He wants to load them with sensors for fire weather detection.
Wait, fire detection out in the ocean? That seems counterintuitive.
It makes perfect sense if you understand California weather dynamics. The Santa Ana winds, the ones that drive our worst wildfires, they blow from the land out to the sea.
Okay.
But we also have complex weather patterns coming in from the ocean. Having a sensor network 10 miles offshore gives meteorologists a massive advantage in predicting these shifts.
So you turn a symbol of fossil fuel extraction into a tool for fighting climate change disasters.
It's adaptive reuse at its finest. Instead of spending millions to tear it down, you spend thousands to upgrade it into a sentinel.
That is a serious aha moment.
Right. It connects maritime history with future climate resilience.
It reframes the whole conversation about industrial decay.
Right.
We usually look at old stuff as trash, but maybe it's just a resource we haven't figured out how to use yet.
And that's exactly what the Maritime Museum does best. It connects the past, like those amazing Edward Marple's model ships they have, to the future challenges.
If you go to that talk, you are definitely going to be the smartest person at your next dinner party. Oh, you think that's an oil rig? Actually.
It's a fire detection node. It's a conversation starter for sure.
Okay, let's move from the intellectual to the social. Because a harbor without people is just a wet parking lot. And I want to highlight a group called Real Guppy Outdoors.
A fantastic organization.
First of all, top-tier name. Real Guppy. It just makes you smile. But what they do is really important for accessibility.
It is. Boating and fishing can be very gate-kept hobbies. They are expensive. You need gear, knowledge, a boat.
Real Guppy breaks down those barriers. They host rod building classes every Saturday.
Which is such a cool traditional craft.
I didn't even know you could build your own fishing rod.
Oh, yeah. And then they do free fishing events at the Port Huname Pier on the fourth Sunday of every month. They provide everything.
The gear, the bait, the instruction.
Everything. So if you've never held a rod in your life, you can just show up. It democratizes the coastline. It says, this ocean belongs to you too.
And they are having a bit of a Hollywood moment this month.
They are. Friday, February 5th, from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Maritime Museum. They are premiering the Anglers Fishing Show.
It's a red carpet event. Or maybe a blue carpet.
It includes a tour of the museum, too. It's a great way to support local media and see the community celebrating itself.
Now, we cannot do a deep dive on a harbor without talking about food. The source material we got was incredibly specific, which I appreciate.
It gave us a treasure map.
It did, for the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Every Sunday at Marine Emporium Landing. But, expert, tell them about the blue tarp.
Yes, the specific directive is to look for the Williams family booth. The visual landmark is a big blue tarp and banners. You can't miss it if you're looking.
Apparently, this is non-negotiable. If you go to the market and don't find the blue tarp, you have failed the assignment.
If you want the authentic experience, yes. They are famous for fresh fish tacos and handmade ceviche.
Street food, but harbor fresh.
Exactly. And right next to the market, you have something that I think a lot of people overlook, the direct-to-consumer sales on the docks.
This is the shortest supply chain possible?
You are buying from the person who caught it, often straight off the boat. No middleman, no freezer truck.
The list of available catch right now is intense. Lobsters, California king crabs, sea urchins, and box crabs. Now, I have to ask, what is a box crab?
It's a deep water crab. They look like a little box when they tuck their legs in. For a long time, they were considered bycatch, basically trash fish.
Yeah, now.
Now, chefs and foodies have realized the meat is incredibly sweet, sweeter than Dungeness crab.
So it's a hidden gem.
It is, but they are hard to crack. You need a hammer, not just a cracker. The shell is thick.
Note to self, buy a hammer before Sunday.
And if you don't want to do the work yourself, the restaurant scene is strong. You have Moquica doing Brazilian seafood.
That's mokeku.
Go Keku,
Oh.
and Harbor Mart Waterside. But honestly, grabbing a bag of fresh urchin or crab off the dock is an experience you just can't replicate.
It connects you to the season.
It does.
We've covered the small animals, the crabs and the sea bass, but we need to address the leviathans.
The whales.
Right.
The gray whale migration is in full swing.
Are right in the middle of the superhighway season.
From now through May 2026, the grays are moving south to Baja to breed or starting to head back north. If you get on a charter boat right now, your probability of a sighting is extremely high.
And there's a celebration of the Whales Festival teased for April.
There is, but you don't need to wait for a festival to see them.
Just get on a boat.
Or even just stand at the end of the breakwall with a good pair of binoculars. You can often see the spouts from shore.
Speaking of getting on a boat, let's say I'm inspired. I want to leave the shore.
Yeah.
What are my options if I don't own a yacht?
You have plenty. For a relaxed vibe, you can rent electric boats from Harbor Hopper or Sunset Boat Rentals.
Those are the silent ones.
Yes, so you can actually talk and watch the wildlife without scaring it off. Or if you want to work out, kayaks are everywhere.
And on land.
Rent a bike from Zachary Dunes, that's Zachary Dunes or Henry's. The harbor is very flat, very rideable.
But before you go renting boats, the expert in you is twitching to mention safety.
Always. The ocean is not a theme park. It's a wilderness. There is a Safe Boating Expo coming up in spring 2026, the 16th annual one.
So if you're new to this.
Please go. Learn the rules of the road. It makes the water safer for everyone.
Finally, for the listeners who want to get involved in the machinery of how this place is actually run, the civic side of things, where do they go?
The Channel Islands Neighborhood Council.
Sounds very official.
It is the civic engine. It's an all-volunteer group, but they tackle the heavy stuff. Airport noise, safety protocols, and the big one, water quality.
Water quality is everything in a harbor.
It affects property values, recreation, wildlife, everything. If you care about the health of the harbor, this is where you make your voice heard.
And they have a meeting coming up.
Thursday, February 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. It's at the Pacific Corinthian Yacht Club.
Which is a nice venue.
It is. And attending these meetings is how you transition from being a tourist in your own town to being a resident. You see the budget, you see the arguments, the compromises.
So bringing this all together, we've gone from moving 2 million cubic yards of sand to cracking open box crabs with a hammer.
It's a diverse ecosystem.
But the through line for me today is adaptation.
Absolutely. That is the theme.
Channel Islands Harbor isn't sitting still. It's actively reshaping itself.
Think about it. They are re-engineering the coastline with the dredging to fight erosion. They're re-engineering the economy with Carl's Village and the Hyatt to fight irrelevance.
And re-engineering the ecosystem with the sea bass program to fight extinction.
And potentially re-engineering oil platforms to fight fire. It's all about taking what is there and adapting it for 2026 and beyond.
It's a microcosm for what every coastal city is going to have to do.
It is. We can't just rely on the infrastructure of the 1970s anymore. The climate has changed, the economy has changed, the community has changed.
That's a powerful takeaway. We aren't just watching construction, we're watching evolution in real time.
And the best part is, you can participate. You can volunteer for the sea bass, you can buy the local crab, you can go to the council meeting. You don't have to be a spectator.
So here's a final thought for you to chew on this week. We talked about turning oil platforms into green lighthouses and old fishing wharfs into community villages. It makes you wonder, look around your own neighborhood. What piece of ugly or old infrastructure are you ignoring? That could be the next green lighthouse if you just looked at it a little differently.
Adaptation versus demolition, that's the challenge.
Something to think about. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us into Channel Islands Harbor. Go get some fish tacos, and we'll catch you on the next one.
See you then.